looking for friends, but not imaginary ones, and I don't want to pretend. Attention all open-minded, kind-hearted folks, let us come together.
Well, hello there. Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised on the Radio. I am one half of this show. I am Colt Brocado. Patrick Blair sipping out of that perfect mug. I love that mug so much. Music matters. Raised on the Radio. You know. Anyways, Patrick Blair in Zoom land as usual. And how are you, sir?
Great. Not as usual.
Well, I mean, you're still in Zoom land. You're just not in the same room.
Yeah. So I need to apologize audio-wise for the sound. I'm in my foyer, as you so hate it.
I hate that so much. I don't know why. I just hate that word. It's weird.
The acoustics are pretty strong in here. And then for my posture, because I am not in a chair, I'm on a bench, so I'm hunched over a little bit. So that's for the people watching. My posture is probably pretty terrible.
Do you really think people are going to be worried about your posture?
I'm worried about it. Why do you think I have a bad back? Anyway, so yeah, make those apologies now at the beginning here. My office is destroyed right now. I had the bright idea to put a bathroom in my office, to which a discovery was made to the integrity of my house. The underground pipe, which is sort of like the main pipe. Again, I'm not a plumber, so I don't know the lingo or what exactly it is, but it has a crack in it. So they had to dig up more of the floor. They have to dig up more of the floor today. So my office is covered in dust and drywall and insulation.
It's a good lucky find though, right?
It was a great lucky find. I saved myself about $40,000, I believe. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with saving money.
See, the same kind of situation happened with some friends of mine not too long ago. And we actually caught it because we wanted to watch the fights. So I was over at his house on a Saturday night. Fights were going to be on. So they're in the process of they're pretty close to being done with building their house. Yeah. They built up on a basement home. So they're building this big chimney, but that just has the electric fireplace insert into it. You know what I mean? Well, there's a bathroom on the other side of that wall, and the TV is mounted up above the fireplace on the wall. So the TV hadn't been hooked up yet. So the only way for us to hook the TV up was to pull that electric fireplace insert out and then grab the wire behind the wall and plug it in. Well, we did that and found that there was a leak behind the bathroom wall.
Yeah.
In behind the chimney. So which had happened like when they were at some point when they were doing something, they screwed a screw in through a pipe. So I don't know if that was during drywall or something like that. I'm not a construction worker.
Somebody
by any point. Yeah. But regardless, just because we wanted to watch the fights, we caught that. If not, that could have been a major issue down the road. Did
you write Dana a letter?
I should have. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
So hold on. You just said something. You said you're not a construction worker, but you were sending me pictures of work you're doing on your house. You're doing that, or you hired someone?
I've done the majority of it, but that is not construction work. That is trial by error the entire way through.
Did you YouTube your entire house, basically?
Most of it, yes. Yes, I did. Yeah. Now flooring, I did. I've done the flooring before, but it's the easy stuff like the click. I don't know if you've dealt with it or not, but it's like the vinyl stuff that you just click together.
Yeah. See, good for you, man. I admire anyone who just attempts to do that shit on their own. I don't. Here's why. I hate myself too much to let myself fuck up my house. So putting in floors, dude, I am so critical. I painted my son's room, right? Do you remember that process? Mm-hmm. You're thinking like, how big is this fucking kid's room that you're still painting the room? No, I just kept redoing it because I hated the way that I kept doing it. So I kept changing it. I kept redoing it.
What about it was the issue? Like,
I hate myself. I just kept calling myself a bitch. I was just pissed. Just fucking hated myself every time I would start. I would just get mad at myself. So it was just, it finally came down to like, my wife was like, dude, you got to stop painting this room. You got to stop. We eventually have to start moving stuff in here. We got he's going to be here soon.
So was it the same color every time? It was just like you didn't like the way it looked on the walls, or were you just changing the color every time?
No, it was the same color every time. I'm an asshole.
that makes it so much worse.
I know. I'm an asshole. So that's why I hire people.
Okay, I get it.
It just
Now,
look. I know I'm less of a man because I have to pull up, tighten up my belt, and go down there and fix it. And look. I'm not doing it. I'll break something. Mainly my own skull.
There was several things that while going through this house that I was not comfortable with doing. Like we put a couple of barn doors up. You know, I'm talking about the ones that are on the track and they roll forward and backward or in front of the doorway.
I didn't know they were called barn doors, but okay.
Yeah. I had several of those put up and I was not willing to do that because those are massive holes that go in your wall.
Oh yeah.
For a long track. And then on top of that, once you get them up there, they have to be perfectly level, or it's not going to roll on that track, right?
No way.
I was
no way in hell I would do that.
There's no possible way I was doing that.
If I have to drill holes and then be conscious of leveling something, it's going to get fucked up. It's going to get fucked up.
Now I did get that was kind of nerve wracking too, is because we took all the interior doors out and put new interior doors in, which I had never done before. And that's actually a bigger process than you would think because those doors have to be level. And if they're not level, you have to make them level using shim on the insides of the doors. I actually got pretty decent at doing those after the 14th door.
I'm the guy that walks around Home Depot and someone actually stops what they're doing to ask me, "Sir, do you need help with something?" They can tell. They can tell. I stick out like I stick out. And that's a giant place. And most of the time, the customer service is terrible. You have to go find someone, usually.
Right.
Not me. All I need to do is walk around for 3 minutes and someone's going to go, "That fucker is not sure what he's doing. He might not even know he's in Home Depot. Let's go stop and make sure he's in the right place."
Well, I'll tell you what the most nerve-wracking thing about the entire house was for me. So we got to the kitchen and we bought this place from my parents, and the backsplash in the kitchen was all tile and grouted. So we wanted to replace that and put our own backsplash up, but we were going to go with like a wood backsplash. So, cause it's like a rustic barny theme, whatever, in the woods kind of thing. But anyways, so my thought was, okay, I can pull all this tile down. I can sand the grout down to the wall enough to where I can nail the wood over the top of it. No big deal, right?
No, big deal.
Big deal
to me.
Then I start taking this tile off and it's pulling massive chunks of drywall off with it. I didn't know what to do, but I knew that there was no way to get this off and I'd already started it. I can't just stop now. So we get all the tile off. There's these huge holes in the wall. And now I'm told that what I have to do is cut all of the drywall all the way around the countertop and in the kitchen out. So now I'm seeing the studs in the walls, electrical wiring, all this stuff behind my countertop. And I've got to put new drywall in and then put my backsplash up.
See,
but I did it and I succeeded and I was very proud of myself.
You should be, because at that point, I'm getting everyone out of the house. I'm grabbing some gasoline and a match, and we're getting a new place at that point. It would have made me so upset. I just can't do it. Can't do it. But let's not bore people with home improvement stuff here.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of bored already.
yeah, probably. Well, I was just worried about the echo in this room. I can tell it's loud.
It's okay. We're good.
What can you do? But did you watch Machine Gun Kelly on Saturday Night Live last night?
I didn't. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched Saturday Night Live.
So I didn't watch live, but I did watch. That's the best thing about YouTube is I knew I could wake up this morning and it would be right there ready to go on YouTube for me. It was good. And I feel like every prediction I've been making about that guy for the last 4 months is happening. Look,
so what
Saturday Night Live. So when I saw on Twitter, Saturday night, I don't know if it was them that posted it, but so John Krasinski hosted. I'm sure everyone knows who that is. I don't think I need to explain who that is. Right. And then, so they do like, you know how they do like the preview of the episode, it's going to be the host, the musical guest, and then someone from the show. So they did that. And I just remember going, God, that's such a big deal for him to be on Saturday Night Live. Because look, if you're my age, if you come from the era of Saturday Night Live when you actually watched, when I would say from the ages of like 12 years old to 18, every Saturday night, if I was somewhere where there was a TV, I go, hey, put it on, such and such is playing on Saturday Night Live. Wouldn't want necessarily to watch the full show. So it was a big deal for you to be on Saturday Night Live. You know, if you were a musical artist, it was a big fucking deal. Almost like it still is for a stand-up comedian to host it. You know, Bill Burr did it recently and he talked about it like, it's a fucking dream come true. Like, this is what you did. Like, if you were like the people that he grew up watching and sort of idolizing or whatever, his heroes, when they hosted Saturday Night Live, it was a huge deal. So the fact that he got to do it, the same thing for me. So
well, yeah,
like,
Chappelle did it recently, and so did Eddie Murphy, right? Or at least over the past year.
Chappelle did for sure. I don't know about Eddie Murphy, which that wouldn't surprise me, but
I thought he did because I thought it was right around the time where they were announcing that Netflix was paying him an ungodly amount of money to do a couple of stand-up shows.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. That would be a good way to promote it. Also, I mean, he's kind of a staple for that show because he was a former cast member or whatever.
Right.
But
hey, speaking, I won't get too far off the tracks, but so did you ever watch Chappelle's show? Like, were you a religious follower of the Chappelle show or a fan of it at all?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say religious, that's strong, but yeah, I watched it.
Okay. So you're talking about musical guests and you're talking about on Saturday Night Live. So it made me think about at the end of all the Chappelle episodes, he would have a musical guest. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all. No.
So you saying that makes me think that you're like me and that you watched the Chappelle show up until about the last 2 minutes. So you didn't watch the music at the end.
Who would he have? I don't remember this at all.
Really? Okay.
No. Who, like, give me an example. Like Outkast or something?
No, I don't remember.
I'm gonna have to. That's gonna.
I hope I'm talking about the right show. I'm pretty sure I am. It had to be.
I mean, how would you mistake the Chappelle show for something else?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about the ending. God, I hope I'm right. I hope that is the Chappelle show.
Are you talking about In Living Color?
No,
because they would have musical artists on at the end. Because I remember Incubus was on it.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, and they came up in was it Mad TV or In Living? Oh, it was Mad TV. Sorry, Mad TV would do that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe In Living Color did it too, but that's way too. God, I'm showing my age. Anyway, so look, for him to play Saturday Night Live, it's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it is. Maybe people don't care anymore, but from a pop culture sort of perspective, that's insanely huge still.
Well, that was what I was going to ask, though. Is it that big of a deal anymore? Is Saturday Night Live what it once was?
Yes. I mean, no, it's not. I mean, I don't watch it anymore, but on the level of people talking about it, yeah. Yeah. It's still a big deal to host. It's still a big deal to be the musical guest, in my opinion.
Okay.
But and he did well. They sounded good. And I say they because you might as well just call Machine Gun Kelly a band. I mean, he does. He has been even before the pop punk stuff. So, but I want to just go ahead and take credit for his success. I predicted this. I knew it was going to happen regardless of the pop punk album. I think this would have happened anyway. So
I have to imagine most of his success and people hearing about him is from this show, because we've talked about Machine Gun Kelly an ungodly amount on this show.
Yeah, so and I apologize for doing it again, but
it's because of our millions and millions of listeners that his success has gotten so big.
I expect something. I want a platinum plaque for my bathroom or a gold plaque. I want something.
For your bathroom? Is that insulting?
Not really.
It's not?
Yeah. I mean, well, look.
If you had a platinum record and somebody had that and put that in their bathroom in their house, would that offend you?
No, because I would have a platinum record. Are you kidding?
And it wouldn't matter.
Put it wherever you fucking want. It doesn't matter. yeah, what was I don't remember what I was gonna say, but so anyway, he's blown up, dude, and that's just this is just another example of how he's blown up. So good for him.
Well, I will give you this. Before this show, I was not the biggest fan of MGK, but also we started the show shortly before he became this new pop punk genre star, right? But like I said, before this show, I guess I didn't put much thought into MGK really, but I've become not a serious fan, but I've definitely become a fan of this new MGK.
So like the pop punk.
Yeah, I am a fan of it. I have listened to this last album that he just put out
Several times, or just a once over.
Well, I gave it a once over, and then songs that were kind of intrigued me, I go back and listen to a few times, including what's the name of the big one that everybody's talking about? I guess the last single that he put out, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
He performed it on Saturday Night. My Ex's Best Friend, I think.
Okay, that's not the song I'm talking about.
My Bloody Valentine.
Okay, My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's if you like pop, I mean it's a pop punk record. It is I call it pop punk proper. You know, I think it is. I mean so do you like other pop punk artists? Or is this sort of a new introduction to the genre for you? Like, are you a Blink fan? Are you a New Found Glory fan?
Yeah, I am. I am a fan of that type of music. But this is where you know a lot more about this than I do, like as far as what is considered pop punk and stuff like that. I don't have any off the top of my head, but I might name bands that you might look at me like, that really? That's who you would say is pop punk?
Do it.
But no, actually the two that you just named are the two that I would have named. So maybe I'm not too far off the track.
Well, I mean, they're the two.
I know. I get it.
So yeah.
But especially New Found Glory. I'm a big fan of New Found Glory, especially that Sticks and Stones album. I guess it's the first major one that they put out, or the first one that got big. They had before
that one put them over the edge for sure. But they had
okay.
Yeah, I guess they were still a little bit unknown. They weren't unknown, but I mean, you had to be specifically. I guess that was before they hit the MTV crowd, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
Is that the one with "It's All Downhill from Here" or whatever? Either way. So yeah.
My Friends Over You is the big one that I remember on that record.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Because then they had the next record. I think was called Catalyst.
Damn. Yeah, I don't
know. Go ahead.
I'm not privy to the catalog. I mean, I like them. I've seen them live a couple of times. They're really fun. I think they're a good band. It's just they're not. Same with Blink-182. I don't know what it is.
What about any of the bands that were created out of Blink-182, like Angels and Airwaves and what was the other one? Boxcar Racer? Was that another band?
Boxcar Racer. There was Plus 44. Which most people forget about that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I never.
Did you follow any of those? No.
Each one of those bands you just named had a song or two that I liked, but I never went as far as like, getting into the albums or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. But also, I'm not the biggest Blink fan, so like having an offshoot of that band, whether Angels and Airwaves, I don't consider that's a different sound, I guess. But yeah, as singers, okay, let me say this. As singers, I don't think either of those two guys I'm not necessarily a fan of. They're good. Okay. They're good at what they do for the sound, but it's just not, I just got into other stuff. Like I'm one of those, I guess, too cool for school people that was like, yeah, pop punk. I like Phoenix TX is my favorite. Like that was just the way I was.
I've never heard of that in my life.
Yeah, exactly. Either way.
Phoenix TX. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they had a song with Mark Hoppus on it, so they were around that same time. Okay. Didn't get near as big, obviously. But it was just, I don't know. They always had more of a rock sort of punk vibe to me, less of a pop thing going on. But you know, I like pop music, so it wasn't necessarily about that. It's just they struck me in a different way. I don't know. But yeah, Machine Gun Kelly's he's got the sound. And I think because he's not, and I said this before, I think because he's not a pop punk singer necessarily, he has turned into one. But because his voice isn't the higher register of pop punk singing, you know, most people would consider pop punk vocalists to be sort of nasally, high pitched singers.
I get
He's
it.
not that. He's not that at all. He's got a bassy voice, which I think makes the music cool. You know, that's probably why you like it, because I think outside of pop punk, you're into more. Stop me if I'm going down the wrong road here, but you're into more butt rock bands.
How did I know that's what you were going to say?
So they typically, but dude, there's nothing wrong with that. But butt rock bands, the singers typically have a more mid-range voice.
I gotcha.
So I think that strikes a chord with you. Yeah.
So like your metal is like your lower range voice, and then you got your middle, which is butt rock, and then normally pop punk, or maybe it's more the punk itself is the higher range. Is this the tier we're making here?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, because like metal proper, if we're talking like metal proper.
Okay, this is the second time you've mentioned proper at the end of something. What do you mean by that? Can you?
Well, I only speak like, I only say that like, because that's what I imagine like the purists of those genres would say. Okay. That's why I use that word. And probably because they use it. But let's make one thing clear. If you're metal, you're metal. I don't care from what era. I don't care who calls you what. If you evoke some sort of emotion in me, you know, if you move me in the slightest, I'm going to like you. I don't care about genres. I don't care about, you know, I don't care about that.
Okay.
But I would say metal proper, if we're talking about metal from sort of, if you're going through the evolution of metal and you're going, say, like 30 years back, typically metal singers were higher pitched singers. But that's going way back. That's like Judas Priest, Dio. Like that's way back. You know.
I gotcha. And I guess it got kind of deeper. Well, like okay, so like your hardcore metal, like what Slayer and bands like that, was that before or after Judas Priest, or around the same time?
Well, thrash came after Judas Priest. Yeah.
Oh, so that's not considered metal; it's considered thrash.
Well, thrash metal, yeah. Dude,
okay.
So like the evolution of the metal
thrash metal proper, is that what you were saying?
I'm not going to say proper anymore. You made me realize I'm a fucking tool. No, the evolution of the metal singer, I think it's gone through the phase of being a higher registered singing voice to, like I said, more mid-range and then into screaming. Like once screaming became screaming, like what we know screaming to be today, I think it opened up the doors for not only there to be different registers of screaming, but also now we're going to be screaming and singing, which a lot of metal bands will never do, though they think it's blasphemous for there to be singing, and I used air quotes on that, in their songs. And these are and it sucks hearing that, because as a vocalist, I would love to hear singing in some of these bands that I do like in some of their songs. I think it would make it kind of cool, but what do I know?
So something like, and I'm just using a band because it's our friends, but like Inimical Drive, something along those lines.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Would I like to hear that? Is that what you're asking? In some other band's music?
Yeah, right.
Well, sure, why not? Yeah, I like singing. But I think Inimical Drive is incredibly catchy, whether Joel's screaming or singing. You know, I think they have found a groove as far as being melodic but still heavy, which I really love. You know, I love when bands do that.
What about like a Bullet for My Valentine? Are they considered just butt rock to you, or are they pushing the lines of metal too?
They're butt metal.
Okay. Someday I'm going to need you to make me a list, and I'm going to
I will.
need you to put all the different genres, quote unquote, genres of music on that. And then I need you to give me examples of bands that fall into that category. That way we can be on the same level whenever we're talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Bullet for My Valentine, I have a history with. So I say butt metal in the most insulting way when I'm talking about them.
Oh, it's a bad history with them?
Yeah. Yeah. But
not willing to go into that, I guess.
Maybe off the podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to upset anyone.
Okay.
Which again, that's, do I have good reason? In retrospect, if I'm looking back, it's been years and years. I'll probably I should have just, it's one of those situations where you go, if you look back on it, you go, God, I should have just handled that differently. Whatever. Fuck them. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, looking back on it, there are a lot of those situations too, where you ever meet someone and you're like, at the time you think you don't think it went poorly, but you don't think it went well because they did something that kind of just rubbed you the wrong way. So you kind of just sort of were a little standoffish. You just kind of take a step back and go, okay, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have so many of those situations, especially with band guys, but we're twats. I'm sure there are hundreds of people that feel the same way about me. And I'll be the first to admit I'm antisocial because of severe anxiety and just issues being out in public. So I'm sure when people met me, they were kind of like, Jesus, this guy's a dick. I wasn't trying to be. And I've apologized. I've apologized to people that I'm friends with now. Like the first time I met you, I was an asshole. I think I remember it, I'll say that to them. And then they go, no, you're all right. I'm like, no, you can say it. I know I was an asshole. So for those out there, I just go ahead.
So what I'm thinking about this is I'm thinking about for a band member, depending on where you're at and what you're doing, the setting is going to change your attitude in general, depending on what the setting is. So if you're playing Warped Tour and it's 110 degrees outside and you have an interaction with a band who is just on there and it goes well or it goes poorly, could be because they're just in a pissed off mood and feel shitty and because they just got off stage or whatever, versus if you're playing the pageant where it's inside, but there's so many moving parts too. There's so many people that are involved in getting a band on stage and off stage and stuff like that. It just seems like it depends on the setting and it depends on the day really, on what kind of mood people are in. And if this is the only interaction that you have with one of those guys, it could go either way, but then you may be sour about it your entire life if you never meet them again and never get that, hey, I know you're an asshole. I know I was an asshole. If you don't get that closure, you may just spend the rest of your life thinking, fuck that guy.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure people probably think that about me. Not that it matters. I don't matter, but, and maybe they've moved on. I'm sure but I learned to correct it though. I knew that I eventually would have to correct that because and I actually learned that on Warped Tour. I saw a rather well-known person be really shitty to some kids that all they wanted to do was just say, hey, dude, you fucking rocked. Can I get anything? And that person was an asshole. And I was like, God, now that I've seen that in action, live, you always heard stories about it. But when I actually saw it, I was like, oh, God. And I was in no way anywhere close to sniffing the level of success that this person was experiencing. So I didn't know. I still don't know. But I just knew that, look, if I got people that are coming to see me, I'm going to be good to them. Even though it's going to make I'm going to feel weird about it at first. I might need a few drinks in me. I might need to, smoke some weed, whatever. I might need 5 minutes, but I need to be cool. And to be honest with you, I didn't learn that until probably way later than I should, but I kind of owe that all to, a former band member who put one of my bands together. he didn't end up being in the band once the band kind of got to the level of where we thought we were at, which was good. But he was like, he preached like, hey, we got to interact. We got to interact. We got to interact. We preached it. We got to be at the merch table. We got to do this. We got to go take pictures. And I always thought it was, at the beginning, I was like, well, that's kind of douchey, man. Unless someone asks me, I'm not going to assume that they want to meet me, you know? But this is a perfect transition into, he's like, dude, we were performers. We need to be rock stars. We need to project this essence of not so much success, but we love doing this. You should love it too. That type of thing. Having fun. Like I mentioned in the last podcast.
Yeah.
You know, like MGK was talking about. That's what we were talking about.
Okay. This is what interests me about this conversation, though, is that you, just like me, have seen, though, like when you're at a show and you look over at a merch booth and there's that one or two guys that are in the band that are sitting at the merch booth just like on their phones and nobody's going over to the merch booth.
Put your phone down.
I mean, there's that, but that's not even like what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you're saying that this guy preached, we need to be at the merch booth. We need to meet people and this, that, and the other. But how does it look if nobody's coming to your merch booth and you're just standing there?
Do something to get them there. And that's what we did. We'd have people dress up in Green Man costumes, chicken suits. I mean, anything to draw attention. That's what we did, which again, I think it pissed a lot of bands off that had to have a merch table next to us.
Because you're drawing people away from their merch booth.
Yeah, I guess there's sort of these unwritten rules about how far but dude, look, if you ever go to see a bigger band at a venue, say like Pops or something, and you look at their merch tables, it's a display. It's an attraction. It has to be, dude. That's how you make your money, especially now. It just has to be. So yeah, I mean, it probably pissed some people off, but I don't know. I can't apologize for that now, because it taught me the valuable lesson of not to be shitty to people.
Well, but that's also people looking at it as, okay, this band is trying to pull, audience members or crowd away from us, when it's not. It's just you were trying to get attention on you. They could be doing the same thing.
Yeah, man. Well, look, dude, again, we gotta have fun. We gotta make money. We gotta, I want as many people to hear our music as possible. You know? But look, if a band was playing, no, we weren't on a megaphone like saying, come to our merch table. That's rude. We wouldn't do that. It would be in between sets. It would be, like there were, like I said, unwritten rules as to what you did and what you didn't do. We tried to follow those as specific as possible. But yeah, I mean, it's funny you said that too. Like fans don't know, like, hey, they might be having a bad day, but also they don't care, They just don't. They don't think like that. I remember you said that, and it made me think of a specific situation where, again, a band bigger than these kids come up to me and one other person in my band, and like, hey, you guys did great stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. Shook their hand, whatever. And they go, hey, do you know? And I'm not going to name the guy in the band, but do you know such and such from this band? And like, are you friends with them? And we're like, well, we know them. Like, are they back? Because we were in a backstage area. I don't know how these kids got back there. And so they go, can you go get them and bring them over here? And I was like, ooh, no. But I'll tell you what I will do. If I do see him and you guys are still around, I'll direct him to where you are. And if he feels like coming over, then he'll come over. Right? So see the guy. I don't say a word to him. And I think the kids saw me see him and didn't say anything to him.
Jeez.
Right? I could tell he was in a bad mood. I could tell.
I get it, yeah.
And I also don't expect him to know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. That's the way my brain works. Like people are like, why didn't this asshole say hi to me? It's because I don't have to, I don't want to stop you and go, hey, I'm such and such. And I'm not going to expect you to remember who I am if you've met me once. I know that's a weird way of thinking. Like just say, hey bro, whatever. Like I get it, but that's just the way my weird brain works. So like, So I think the kids saw me not say anything to him. So then they just started shouting his name. And I think he finally went, motherfucker, fine. So he walks over and they go, hey, such and such, that dude said we could pull you up. I was like, God damn it.
Oh, dude.
So he actually came up and said something to me, and I was with my entire band now. He goes, hey man, why did you tell? I go, dude, I promise you I didn't. Right. I told them that if you weren't busy and if you like, I would go, look, you looked like you were busy. You looked like you were kind of doing something. I didn't want to bother you. He goes, all right, well, I do. And I'm like, but also I'm thinking like, hey, fuckface, you already went over there. You already made their day. Why are you lecturing me about what I need to be doing? I didn't say anything, obviously, but obviously I talked shit about him when he left, like a little bitch. But in the moment, I was like, hey, asshole, like, dude, you know, those kids like they like your band more than mine. You know what I mean? I had to project this sort of like coolness, like, yeah, man, I'll talk to him for you. You know, when he clearly didn't give a shit about me. They were just using me to get to you. Like,
yeah, I get it. But if you were in the shoes of that guy,
I completely get it. That's what I'm saying.
You would have felt the same way. Like if somebody else, if you thought that if you were in a bad mood or you were busy doing something else and you thought that somebody else promised people that you would go see them when you don't even know me. I mean, that's, yeah, I could see why he was upset about it, but it was also a miscommunication. Those kids just pretty much lied.
Well, I don't know.
Sorta.
I mean, whatever.
But they got their hopes up. I mean,
I gave them a CD. They probably use it as a fucking ashtray. I don't fucking know, but no,
they're vaping these days.
Yeah.
They don't need an ashtray.
Yeah. But no, I mean, but the reason that I told that story is I understood both sides of it. I understand now his frustration in the moment, and I understand that those kids don't think about it the same way we do. They don't. And it's not their fault. Why should they? It's not their job to worry about. You know, a lot of people say they should, but it's not a fan's job to worry about what type of mood you're in. It's not there. That should not be a part of their decision making, a part of their level of understanding. Now, should they? Yeah. You know, that's why I get so weird about meeting people too. Like, dude, I'm terrified of meeting like people that I consider to be heroes or like I actually looked up to.
Influential.
Yeah. Did I tell you the Brandon from Incubus story? Have I told you that story?
I don't think so.
You sure? Well, look, if
maybe
to the millions of listeners we have, if I'm repeating a story here, I apologize. But so I'm at a festival and that I played. Incubus was playing it, and I'm backstage, and another member of another band who's not an Incubus, but just another band that was playing it, sees me and he says hello. And this was someone that I had met before and actually had a conversation with, so that it wasn't awkward. Like it was, you know, hey dude, what's up? So he goes, hey man, if you see Brandon back here, isn't he like aren't they like your favorite band? Like, are you gonna like talk to him? And I'm like, fuck no. I'm not going to say a fucking word to that guy. Are you kidding me? He goes, oh, dude, I'm going to fucking say something. I love Incubus. Like, if I see him, I'm like, okay, dude, you do that. I'm not, please, no, don't even. So fast forward to, I guess, maybe a couple of hours later, I'm sitting at a table eating with people from my band and other people. I look up and who's talking to Brandon? That fucking guy. And I was like, oh my God, please no, please don't let him see me. Please don't. And so sure enough, I'm looking, I'm like, guys, is he looking over here? They're like, no. And I'm like, guys, is he looking over here? They're like, dude, would you shut up? Oh shit, he just looked at you. And then so the dude in the other band is like, hey man, come over here. He's like calling me over. He's like, man, I have an Incubus tattoo right here, right? And he goes, show him your tattoo. I have told him about your tattoo. Show him your tattoo. I'm like, this motherfucker. So I probably look so ridiculous. So I walk over there with my head down, like my tail between my legs. Like, hey. He's like, Brandon, this is Patrick. And I'm like, hey, Brandon, nice to meet you. And I was like, yeah, here's my like grenades tattoo. Like, it was so awkward. Dude, Brandon was super cool. He was super nice. So I'd probably make it more of it than it was. But I felt so fucking awkward, man.
But God, that guy had to make you feel so douchey. Because in that situation, doesn't it make it seem like you put this on, or like you went through somebody else to get to Brandon, kind of?
Possibly. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
But I don't know. I just felt so. Oh, I felt so lame. And there have been a couple of situations like that. Met Sonny from POD when I was roofied.
Nice.
That was my first interaction with him. That's great.
Roofie? Okay. You
Yeah,
can't just gloss over that.
Yeah. Well, we forgot to mention again at the top of the show that we do have a guest for this show. But I'll tell this story real quick. I got roofied I got roofied. I don't think the person tried to roofie me. I think they tried to roofie one of the many females sitting around me. And I'm not saying that like I'm some pimp. It's just so happened that that's what was happening at the time. And I grabbed the wrong cup. And yeah. And
yikes.
Yeah.
So well, I'll have to talk about that feeling later.
Oh, dude, it's terrible. It's terrible.
I bet.
Someone wanted to fuck me. They could have. Let me just, for all those that are wondering, like, do roofies really work? Or what does that really do to you? Yeah. Yeah. If someone wanted to fuck me, they could have. I would not have been able to stop them. I couldn't move my fingers, dude. That's the story of Sonny bumping into me. I started feeling really shitty. I was like, God, I feel sick. Then I tried to get up and I couldn't walk. So I crawled to the bathroom in this backstage area, and the door swings open and I'm down on the ground, and it's Sonny from POD. And one of my band members was following me, and he just goes to my band member. He goes, homeboy's fucked up. And then my band member picked me up and got me to a toilet. I passed out on the floor, face down at a backstage bathroom at a festival.
That's for one, very gross.
Yeah.
And for two, anytime if you ever played or shared the same stage with POD, did you ever play on the same stage as them again?
Twice.
Twice. Did you ever get to talk to him?
He didn't remember me. Yeah, I talked to him, but yeah, he didn't remember me. He had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's
but
good.
I'm certainly not going to tell him like, hey, dude, remember that one time? Yeah. But no, he didn't remember. And he was cool. But yeah, he was like, homeboy's fucked up. Not one of my finer moments. But yeah, roofies work. Maybe I shouldn't broadcast that, but I was fucked up. It's fucking terrible.
Sorta awkward and I'm feeling out of place. Wear it on my sleeve, you can see it on my face.
Lay low,
Real low. Used to go to every party, now I'm posted up, chilling at home.
baby, what you thinking about? I see you staring at the clouds again.
Sun going down and my heart pounds, knowing it'll all just come to an end. Yeah, still looking for friends, but not imaginary ones, and I don't want to pretend. Attention all open-minded, kind-hearted folks, let us come together, sit around the fire telling jokes. Keep it stoked while we reminisce, holding on to memories, you know that we'll remember this.
Having a ball.
All hands on deck, we need to lift each other up, but we've been fighting instead. Sorta awkward and I'm feeling out of place. Wear it on my sleeve, you can see it on my face.
Lay low,
Real low. Used to go to every party, now I'm posted up, chilling at home.
baby, what you thinking about? I see you staring at the clouds again.
Sun going down and my heart pounds, knowing it'll all just come to an end. Another funeral I have to attend. Another somber day spent saying bye to a friend.
And I don't.
Ever taken for granted, try to cherish every moment on this wonderful planet. I got a platform now, so I'm taking advantage. I'd like to take a little pressure off this life that you manage and just
Take a break from all the angst.
just say thanks. I wanna go to the bank, fill up all my friends' accounts just to send them a thanks. For all the smack they talk to keep me at ease. In these phases of delirium, that's all I need, yes indeed.
Agree to disagree. These battles aren't meant to be. Promise.
Yeah, no lie, like honestly, let's just try to live the rest of our lives consciously. Sorta awkward and I'm feeling out of place. Wear it on my sleeve, you can see it on my face.
Lay low,
Real low. Used to go to every party, now I'm posted up, chilling at home.
baby, what you thinking about? I see you staring at the clouds again.
What up, world? We're back. This is episode 53 of Raised on the Radio. As we mentioned, we have some very special guests now, plural, with us. It was guests, singular, but it is plural. We have Dave Velk, musicians Dave Velk and Brea Scow. Did I get the name right, Brea?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Sounds
I was
good.
so worried about fucking that up, even though you did so well.
Most people don't get it right on the first try, but you
all right,
did.
cool.
So, nice job.
I was practicing in my brain the entire time. So thank you for joining. We appreciate it. And also, the single's great. Just came out on Friday. Could Be Worse. Awesome song. We've quickly become fans of yours, Dave, and yours, Brea, now. We love the music. So talk about the single real quick. I mean, I know you, Dave, you've mentioned on social media, it's a very special one to you. So why is that?
So we work at a comedy club. Brea and I work at a comedy club, Acme Comedy Company. It's like one of the premier clubs in the Midwest. And I'm a comedian. And when the pandemic hit, I had to have a creative outlet or I just go insane. And I've always written rap since I was a teenager, but I never really released it. So I started writing because I was just bored out of my mind. And I wrote a song and I thought it was good. That was not Could Be Worse. And then I started writing and I wanted a vocalist. So I shot a status out on my Facebook, just looking for a female vocalist. And Brea was the second person that I worked with. The first one didn't quite work out. As soon as I heard her sing, she took some of my choruses and did her own thing with it. And it was such a moment. Like I almost started crying because of what she was doing with my music and turning it into something else. So from that moment on, I'm like, she's the one, you know, she's the thing. So after that, literally that night, so we met at our friend's studio, realized it was going to work. And after we left their studio, we're like, well, what are you doing right now? Should we just keep working on this stuff? And we went to her apartment and we started listening to beats. And that was the inception of Could Be Worse. Mm-hmm. Started writing it. Brea wrote one line. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go home and finish it.
And the next day he came back and he was like, hey, listen to the song.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. So those lines about another funeral I have to attend. And the last 4 years I've had a friend die every year. Where I'm from Denver originally. And I was involved in a lot of bad shit, a lot of drugs and alcohol. And a lot of my friend group from that time didn't make it out. And so to make it out and for them not to, and kind of represent my town and my friends that didn't make it is super important to me.
Yeah, that's powerful shit. So you also said, so I wanted to bring this up again. So because of that journey, you went from Denver to Minneapolis, but you said you stopped in Missouri along the way. Why was that?
Yeah, well, you know, my road to being a better person was a long road with a lot of bumps in it. So my first attempt to get clean was going to Missouri to live with my best friend out there. Shout out to Zach Conley, Una Vida Tequila. But I went out there to get clean and I stayed out there for a year. We called it misery, no offense, because there was not much to do where we were.
I get it.
Anyway, so I got clean and I ended up going back to Denver and just struggling with it on and off for years. So it's been a long road.
So you said Could Be Worse was the first track that you guys did together. So White Lies, that's the other one, right? Is that was written after?
I wrote after Could Be Worse. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we kind of had a release strategy and what we should give people first. We didn't want to give them all the goods right to begin with, you know?
So, I mean, is there like an EP set up for the future or anything like that? Or are you just trying to do singles at a time?
Everything we've read, I've read in music business stuff just pretty much says go with singles, like one a month. People's, I don't want to put out an EP when I'm not as known and then people listen to one song. If they don't like the first one, then they don't listen to the rest, you know?
Right.
And it's like we're dabbling in so many different styles right now and we're learning so much stuff that it's just singles logistically work the easiest for us too. Just then we can taste a little bit of each and see what our style is, because I'm kind of new to the game. So
we're rookies to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of your, so I mean, being rookies and sort of exploring different styles, what are some of your, just if you had to name them immediate musical influences that you have?
You go first.
Yeah, so when it comes to hip hop, anywhere from like Nas, Method Man, Biggie, Tupac, Mac Miller, Tribe Called Quest. My influences in rap went all over the map because I listened to new stuff and old stuff. Like I went through the Nelly and the Chameleonaire phases in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
And then I grew up on like metal before I listened to rap. So Metallica, Iron Maiden, Avenged Sevenfold, a lot of harder stuff. And now I listen to like more than hip hop, I listen to really soft stuff. I listen to Bon Iver was like the person I listened to the most this last year.
Okay.
So it's all over the map. I think that's why our styles like vary so much.
Yeah, because mine is like, I'm what, 6 years younger than you?
Yeah.
So mine is like singer songwriter, kind of Amy Winehouse, R&B style. I like the 80s hair band music too is a really big part of like my childhood because that's what my parents listened to all the time. So I think that plays kind of like a powerful role in the way that I sing.
Okay.
But yeah, like right now, the Lumineers, Bon Iver.
We love Black Keys, Lumineers.
Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas. I'm obsessed with their YouTube videos. I can't get enough.
So the track could be worse than music video. What's the environment that you set up for that music video? Is there a reasoning for that, or was it mainly just you want to see you guys and feel the words of the music?
Yeah, no. So with the video, I wanted to capture the whole, like I used to party and now I'm content just like staying home.
Nice.
And so it was like being at home, writing, reflecting. And then I just wanted my friends involved in the performance. So those are just like that. Those are people involved in my team. So I just think that being with the friends gave it like another intimate feeling to it, separate from just being me.
Right.
How long have you been doing stand-up comedy?
Stand-up, I was only a year in when when the pandemic hit. So kind of what happened was I wrote music since I was like 14, just like song, rap. And it wasn't until comedy that I really learned how to like put all of the effort into my craft. So I learned, like I was rehearsing and practicing and writing all the time. So when I applied that same effort to the thing that I've been doing my entire life, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? You know, sorry, can I curse?
Yeah, we're terrible. I'm terrible. He's not that bad. Yeah, to say whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm like, what have I been doing? Like, comedy is awesome, and that's not something that I'm gonna give up. But it's like, why didn't I just continue doing like what I'm already ahead at? You know.
You doing comedy before you started at Acme, or is that like, did you start as like a door guy or something like that, or how's that?
Yeah, so I was living an hour away from Minneapolis, and I had a corporate job selling glasses, and I was miserable, and I tried stand up there a couple times because my roommate got me to, and I was hooked. So from that moment on, I was just like, I need to leave this job and like follow my dreams, move to Minneapolis because there's nothing for me here.
So were you hooked because it was really, you had a really good set at the very beginning, or were you hooked because you didn't do well and you wanted to be good at it?
So actually, like my first set went really good. I was very prepared. I killed it. And then my second set, I got cocky and I thought, I'm just good at this. So I didn't prepare as much and I fucking bombed. But I was hooked from both of those things because the bombing is so mortifying that you're like, I have to redeem myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have those moments on stage as an artist, as a musician as well. So I can imagine that that's only going to help moving forward. I've been there. So who are some of your influences when it comes to comedy?
Favorites at the top are Tom Segura, Louis C.K., Dave Chappelle. Yeah. Love Jesselnick, man. All over the map. I like really fucked up humor.
Jesselnick's one of your favorites, right, Colt?
He is.
Yeah. I mean, we're both giant. I mean, we talk about stand-up comedy on the show probably more than we should because we don't know a thing about it other than that we're fans. We talk like we know the biz. Just because we follow all these guys like Segura and Joe Rogan and Jesselnick and all those guys. So it's actually funny that you also do stand-up comedy along with music because they're just two very large topics of our show, topics of conversation on our show, or both of those things. So that's perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
So how soon do you feel you'll be back to either doing comedy? And this is sort of pandemic based question here, but how soon do you feel you'll be back to doing comedy or even performing? Have you performed at all? Because I know people have found these loopholes as far as performing goes. We've had a few friends here do some very odd shows with people there, but somehow it worked, I guess. But so has that even been an option for you in Minneapolis?
So we had we rented out a bar. Our friends rented out a bar to have like a private little thing for our friend's birthday. Beyond that, we performed once. So when it comes to comedy and music right now, the music is kind of taking off, and I just am itching to perform it on stage. Yeah. So that's going to be the next thing. And we don't know. We don't know how soon, but we're going to have a bunch of music ready for whenever they're ready for us.
Yeah. Have you had any venues open up out there and like on a small, like I said, like sort of a limited capacity basis, or is it everything shut down?
So yeah, places are opening. The comedy club has been open at a limited capacity. They have shields up between people. But no, I don't think the music open mics are back up yet.
Nothing.
And not like the main music venues either. Those are still closed.
Yeah.
If it gets a little warmer outside and people can put on some gear, then we can stand outside and perform. But until then, I think we're just busting our asses, like trying to get stuff piled up so that when we can perform, we can showcase what we've been working so hard at.
Yeah. So are you guys going to officially like make it sort of a duo type approach when you start playing shows, or is it going to be, we're separate artists, but we work together often, so here's this package? Are you going to package it as like we're a duo?
I think that our plan is to do both. So be our single artist and then also have a duo that we're still trying to think of a name for. So you got any suggestions? Anybody?
Cool. What do you got? Give them a name right now. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't have any names at the top of my head, but what I'm thinking about is like when you're doing something solo, is you in that cowboy hat and a robe on stage trying to to pull something off.
Yeah, I like to keep it interesting. There's so many like sides to it, you know.
Right.
So do you are you a Lil Dicky fan at all?
Yeah, I love Lil Dicky.
Have you already started getting the comparisons of?
Of course, man.
Yeah.
People are like, you know who you remind me of, and they wait for me to say it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say it. Like,
don't give them that satisfaction. Yeah.
I'm like, like I've gotten it before, and I totally get it, and it makes sense. I make little like Jewish jokes because my mom's Jewish, and obviously a lot of comedic influence in my rap. But then like, Lil Dicky's not doing shit like Could Be Worse at all. No. So there's like so much. I have his style, but there's so much more to it, and there's so much that people haven't even heard yet.
Yeah. So
I'm always hesitant about doing what you just did. Like I see how you didn't try to compare him. You tried to make him say it too. Like,
have you heard of Lil Dicky?
Yeah. Well, like I never want to be that guy who asks and then insults that person. Like, no, I hate that guy.
Dude, that's a compliment, man. He's extremely talented, you know?
Yeah. Well, the only reason I asked that is because of the comedian turn comedian turning to well, especially hip hop, because he tells his story the same way. He was like, I was working a job I hated, but I always thought I was funny, but I didn't necessarily want to do stand up, so I chose music. But if I'm picking, like, and this is just opinion, but if I'm picking someone that I think you sound like, and it's what attracted me to your style immediately, and Colt, you're probably with me, maybe not. I think you sound like Aesop Rock, which is both one of our favorite artists.
Damn.
I've gotten that too, man, and that's also a giant compliment. Because
I hope so, because we both love him.
It is, man. and that's Minnesota. So
yeah.
atmosphere, Aesop Rock, and conscious lyrics. Like actually talking about something.
Yeah. So the first time I heard you, that's the vibe that I got, and that's what made me keep listening. So
cool, dude. Just keep those compliments coming. I'll take that all day. I appreciate that. And Little Dicky, it's like, all right, both of our names are Dave. The Jewish thing,
I'm a moron.
The comedic thing, like the comparisons are there. So I don't know. I think over time people will just realize that it's a completely different thing and they can enjoy both of us.
Well, have you toured at all with because you said, you said you were doing stand-up for what, a year before?
A year into comedy. So I was like just starting to gain steam. But when I say gain steam, I mean like just starting to get like 7-minute sets instead of 3 and 5-minute sets. The comedy, it can be fast, but generally it's such a slow snowball. So yeah, no, I was not at the point of touring. I've never toured. It's my dream.
Yeah, you hear those stories about like even the biggest name comedians, how they started out, and it's like I was a door guy for a year, and then I started hosting a little bit, and then I got to be the middle guy, and it seems like it takes unless you just pop and blow up immediately somehow, it's a long ride to the top.
Well, even the guys that do well for a long time, like take Bert Kreischer. Bert Kreischer was headlining clubs for a decade before he came out with the Machine Story. He puts the Machine Story out on Facebook, it goes viral, and he blows up. And it's just crazy how you could tour across the country and be pretty popular, but like really no one knows who you are that doesn't go to see comedy.
Right.
So it can be a decade-long thing. That's what they say. Like you're not a comedian until like 10 years in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, social media has completely changed it, especially but my next question was going to be, so with music, are you planning as soon as you can, obviously, to tour with it, and what the approach was going to be? And because I know like just we have so many friends that also talked about how not being able to tour right now, but still staying active on social media, which you do. So it's vitally important to just keeping people interested, having consistent content and stuff like that. So, I mean, being able to have both, I think, is going to help you tremendously. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And to be honest, right now, we didn't know when that ball gets rolling again with live performances. So this has been a blessing to learn the social media side. Mm-hmm. My social media has doubled in the last 2 months as far as reach and following. And we're learning that so that when we are touring, we don't have to focus on all that as much. And it's kind of already like a routine. But I agree, just equally as important.
You mentioned earlier that like when you guys kind of talked about, should we just keep on working on this? And you went back to her apartment and you were listening to beats and stuff like that. As far as the beats go, where are you finding these at, or are you making them on your own, or?
So they vary. Since I was 14 years old, I've been getting beats from YouTube, and they link you to websites and you buy the rights, certain amount of rights to them. And then recently, so we have a team, we have a couple guys that also make beats. So we'll go between all of our outlets. Like we just met another producer in Spain. So honestly, like I don't care where I get them. Like I'm just itching for beats. So I go a lot of different avenues, and we just began our start to learning how to make our own.
Yep.
Nice.
Where the music video was shot is the school that we record at. It's been shut down during the pandemic, so they're in there every day. Him and his producer Neil, they're in there every day, like a 9-to-5 job. Meanwhile, I have an office job right now, so that's a little painful for me, but we're figuring that side of it out.
Another really fun part of the story is where we record. That's another, like, the stars just aligned because our friend Neil he's an assistant teacher at the school. When the pandemic hit, they obviously closed and they were going to shut down, and all the students, or not the students, the teachers band together to help pay the rent. So
Oh, wow.
yeah. So as an outcome of that, the owner basically just said, listen, you guys are paying the rent. We're not having people come in physically for classes, so you guys can use the studio. So Neil and I are there Monday through Friday from 10 to 6, 10 to 7. And I can only imagine how much money that studio time would be. So forever grateful.
And we're learning a lot of the technical side too from being there so much, with recording our own stuff, making our own beats. This is just like the start of us learning, and we've gotten this far in 4 or 5 months.
So before we get out of here, please, by all means, give our listeners everywhere they can find you guys, everything they can listen to, blast the socials,
Absolutely.
the YouTube. Tell them where they can find
The
you.
shameless plug. You can find us both. I'm on all platforms at Dave Velk. That's D as in fucking little Dicky. No.
I feel like an asshole now.
Dude, not at all. So that's DAVE space VELK. That's on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify. Your turn.
And for me, everything's under Brea Scow, so BREASCOW, on Facebook, Spotify. I'm on YouTube. Don't have a lot there yet, but we'll get there. Instagram for sure.
All right. Cool.
Nice.
Well, we're definitely going to try to get as many people there for you guys. We're going to be looking forward to new music. Like I said, we have quickly become fans, so we wish you nothing but the best. And please, by all means, come back on after something else comes out, or if you just want to chat about the Broncos. This dipshit down here is a Broncos fan, so you guys.
I would rather not chat about the Broncos.
Okay.
Can you give me like a couple of rebuilding years, and then we'll revisit the subject.
Exactly, man. That's right, man. We can't thank you guys enough. This has been amazing, just giving us the opportunity to, even if we're spreading the word to YouTube, you know what I mean? We just want to speak to people. So thank you guys so much.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Bye,
See ya.
guys.
Still looking for friends, but not imaginary ones, and I don't want to pretend. Attention all open-minded, kind-hearted folks, let us come together.